Welcome back to Level Headed Gamer. My name is Joseph, and today I want to do a Godfall build video. It's actually going to be my first one, guys, so bear with me, but give it a chance. It's actually a pretty powerful build using Greyhawk and Soul Shatter, and I want to get right into it and show you some examples of what gear I have. I'm going to make sure I timestamp everything for you, what gear am I using, some gameplay of it working, and how I kind of combine all the elements together to make sure it does what it needs to do. It's not perfect yet, but I'm getting there. Now, as I mentioned, this is a Greyhawk build, and its focus is obviously on Soul Shatter. He's the Soul Shatter master, and I'm going to be utilizing mostly dual blades. Let me show you what gear I'm using for this character overall. And I'm really not using my secondary weapon, to be honest. I'm utilizing mostly my Hands of Allah's legendary dual blades, mainly because if you get your focus bar to near full charge, it doubles the Soul Shatter buildup on enemies nearby, which is amazing. Not to mention I got some good secondary stats here as well, secondary rolls. And with my legendary amulet, I got the Mark of the Duelist. This is not a perfect roll because my secondaries basically suck and I need to get them a little bit better than that. But this is where I'm going to be able to restore some health for my character, because otherwise he's just going to be a glass cannon, and I don't need that. I don't need him to be squishy. I need him to be able to survive some of the tougher fights. And to reinforce, what you'll see why I'm going to say this, reinforce weak point damage, I'm going to focus a lot on weak points and Soul Shatter buildup on this character overall, and you'll see what I mean by that. But this just causes a little extra damage. Not to mention secondaries are pretty nice. I got two primal gear here overall. First one's Zewi's Embrace. Again, secondaries kind of suck. I need to find the one that's a little bit better, but look, again, it reinforces the health so that I'm able to fight during being able to recover some health during some very difficult fights and just focus on the weak points, not having to worry on recovering so much. This one is a double whammy, right? If you mess up, this could be really bad for you. If you're doing it good, this is going to be amazing. And that's kind of, this is a risk and reward kind of a build, which you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's 40% damage for you, but they deal extra 20% damage to me. And not to mention, I have some pretty good secondaries here overall. And here, again, is to up my critical, because I need to be able to do criticals a lot more with this character. I don't need him to be crit focus, but I need him to be causing enough crit to be healing on a consistent basis. And not to mention, my secondaries are pretty nice here too. And my banner is going to be standard of the Golden Lion here, just to get my weapon technique charge speed. I'll have some augments as well that reinforce technique charge speed, as well as Archon Fury charge speed. That's the main ones I'm really focused on here, again with good secondaries. My augments, I'm just kind of quickly going to go through them so you can see the names and generally understand what I'm trying to do with them overall. But again, it's always reinforcing weapon technique charge, or something with a weak point, or weapon technique damage, and Archon Fury charge, because they're all going to be interwoven. But to this build, if any augment that you need, this is a must, because this is where I think most people's builds are going to be based on this overall, just because this is just so strong. Whenever you hit an enemy with a Northern technique, it exposes enemies' weak points and deals 100% weak point damage next time you hit a weak point. Amazing. And again, you'll be able to get your Soul Shatter build up, you'll be able to get your weak point damage up. It's amazing. Even with a breach, you can get your breach up with this augment. It's amazing. Next one's gonna be focus. So this is just to get a little bit more health overall here, and not very useful for me, this one. I just needed something that kind of reinforces Archon Fury damage. I would like to have Archon Fury damage and duration, but hey, this one, it's not perfect, but it will do for now until I get a better roll. This one, again, as I'm starting hitting weak points, especially Archon Fury on, I'm gonna be causing more damage every time they hit me, which is amazing. And I'm here trying to reinforce a little physical resistance and resistance overall, so that I'm not getting killed too quickly. With my last augment here, just to get my Archon Fury charge up even more. Let me show you my skills as well. I mean, I'll just make a couple comments. I think polarity attacks, since I'm not using the secondary weapon, are not useful. Don't want to waste time on Siphon. It would be nice to get alignments, but I'm not alignment focused. Recovery, it's going to be predominantly through the fighting that I'm going to be doing. and nothing with the banners, shield, or shield attacks really useful except for the shield throw over here. Let me show you. Just because I like to utilize this guy to do a couple of takedowns on the smaller enemies so they stop bothering me so much. But everything else is kind of self-explanatory, as you can see. Now, the way this build is going to work overall, it's going to be a dance between utilizing the northern technique of the dual blades and charging up your Archon Fury. I sometimes will utilize both of them at the same time during really difficult fights if I just want to start doing like hitting weak points. But essentially my job here is to get my northern technique even to 1 bar, not necessarily all of them up, but just to get my northern technique as high as I can up right away so I can activate it, so that when I hit the enemy I expose their weak points, and just slamming away at the weak points, going crazy and eliminating them as soon as the soul shatter is high enough for me to eliminate the enemy overall. Not to mention, as soon as I do that, literally in a couple seconds usually, I'm already getting my Archon Fury, and as soon as I run out of the northern technique I activate my Archon Fury. So like I said, it's a bounce between those two. Not to mention, because you're going to be doing that and doing a whole lot of damage, sometimes they're not even going to get to hit you very much. You're going to be activating your rampage as well, so you're going to be getting rampage bonuses, northern technique bonuses, all the other bonuses from the augments and the weapons that I've gotten along with Archon Fury. You're always going to be dealing a whole lot of damage. The key with this build is to stick to this strategy, especially in the more difficult trials, which of course easier said than done. But if you stick to it, even in the later stages, you're going to be absolutely decimating the enemies. You can't just blindly kind of run in there and start swinging away. You have to time your attacks just by a little so they don't interrupt your whole flow. If they do interrupt your whole flow, you do have to take a little step back, kind of recuperate, and just start initiating the damage again to get your northern technique up. But if you can get a flow going, you'll see how much ridiculous amount of damage you'll be doing. I'll try to purposely show you later stages in the trials so you can see how it actually works. Not to mention, of course, when you're doing Tower of Trials overall, you want to reinforce what for example, what this build already has. So anytime I have a chance to have higher soul shatter build, soul shatter buildup, higher Archon Fury damage, or Fury duration, or Fury charge, whatever it may be, I always try to reinforce it within the Tower of Trials boons that you get, and try to have my Banes not interfere with those things as well. That's a big key point here as well. And whenever I fight shielded guys, what I basically do is I charge up my secondary attack, the southern technique, and it does a whole lot of stagger breach damage basically, so that you can break them down and do some takedown on them as well. And that's how I handle those guys. And for the most part, I have little to no trouble for the first 10 to 15 waves, and only then do I start getting some serious damage. And whether I make a mistake or my build is just not perfect yet to cause enough damage consistently, and that's where it's still, I'm fine-tuning, trying to find that perfect gear for this character. So there you go, guys. That's basically the build I have for the Greyhawk in the Soul Shadow build, utilizing a couple of key elements. And I hope it was useful to you. I hope you find it to, at the very least, to initiate the thinking process for yourself on how you can make Greyhawk the best he can be. And if you guys have some suggestions, actually, I would gladly take them from you to see what you're doing with your characters as well. And hopefully you're getting far into the Tower of Trials. I'm going to leave some gameplay going for you so you can kind of see more if you want to for the next maybe 5 minutes, just so you can see how this build operates overall. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and have a good one.